Let's wrap to our guy Patrick No C Walker on this week's version of the scientific method. Hey, what's good with your brother Pat? How you feeling about that running back duo over there in Baltimore with the quarterback and the running back?
Listen, man, that was a mess. That was a mess. I'm sitting here and I'm having this conversation on Twitter right now with Clarence, and I'm just like, man, listen, you can't put that game on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was a victim. All right, I mean he wasn't in some short yardage packages. The offensive line was in shambles. Lamar Jackson ran 16 times, threw 41 times. I'm like, man, come on, man. Derrick Henry, he got the first touchdown. He set the standard for what I was hoping that they do against the Chiefs. And then Harbaugh just completely abandoned him, and then it was like he wasn't even in the game.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. Lamar's oof. Let me put it that way. Oof.
I got a thought about Lamar that I think I have to wait for this season to play out. There is a comparison. It's a basketball comparison that I'm really waiting to plant on him, but I have to see how this Derrick Henry thing works out. But I'll tell you off air.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting though. I think you'll appreciate the comparison. But if they use Derrick Henry the same way they used him, yesterday, oh boy, we have to have a conversation.
Yeah, like I said, the offensive game plan was buns. The offensive line was cheeks. I mean, even Lamar, man. I mean, outside of him, running when he could run, and sometimes taking off and running when he shouldn't have. I mean, the throws weren't there. It was just nothing going well for them. So I don't want to hear anything about, the toe that stepped on the line, because it was two plays consecutively before that could have tied the game, and the pass just went into the locker room. It's just like, come on, bro. But that's your MVP. So
it's your MVP. Hey, the Cowboys will be suiting up the real MVP, in my opinion, on Sunday. And it looks like he's going to have a full slate, talking about Dak Prescott, a full slate of players and teammates to go. But the injury report came out this week, the last 2 days, and there were a couple names on there that I found very interesting. But can you kind of just give us an update on the injury report in general, and then I want to know what happened with this Mozzie and Carson thing, and should we be worried about him?
Yeah, so as far as the injury report for the Cowboys, well, first let's start with the Browns really quickly. There is just longer, but not much to take away from them except for the fact that Jedrick Willis, their starting left tackle, rated from limited on Wednesday to did not participate on Thursday. That is huge, because it is still to be determined if he plays on Sunday. But two things here. If he plays, he's clearly not 100%, and he's going up against Michael Parsons, okay? And if he doesn't play, then that makes it that much bigger of a deal, because then you have a backup tackle going up against Michael Parsons and that Cowboys defensive edge rush. So good luck with that for the Browns. As far as the Cowboys, Damone Clark, Marshawn Nealon, Israel Mukuamu, Mozzie Smith, we'll talk about him in a second, and Wanye Thomas, as well as Kevin Carson. They were all full participants in yesterday's practice, with the exception of Carson. Everyone else that I just mentioned was a full participant on Wednesday's practice as well. Carson was not on the injury report on Wednesday. He showed up on Thursday's injury report with some sort of knee issue. I spoke with Kalen in the locker room on yesterday. He completely downplayed it, said it was not a big deal whatsoever. He just had it looked at, and he's completely fine. He was moving well. He's walking normally. And if you go and look at, we interviewed him after that conversation I had with him. So I think that's on YouTube and on the .com if you guys want to go check that out. But if you go and you listen to what he's saying, he's 100% go for Sunday. So no concerns there. And he started talking about matchups and outlooks and stuff like that.
Real quick on Carson, was this one of those situations where, if I remember correctly, if anybody leaves practice, like if they fall and got to go get
for any reason,
it has to be reported?
Correct. For any reason. If you miss a single rep, missing one rep could still be deemed as full participant, but the fact that you missed a rep has to be filed with the league. Gotcha. So like you said, well, it could be, oh man, I jammed my finger, so I had to go get my hand taped, and then I got back in practice. Well, you would show up on the injury report with a finger issue. So it's possibly one of those things. But again, you don't have to take my word for it. Go to YouTube, Dallas Cowboys YouTube, go to the .com, and I believe that video is up by now. And it's Kalen basically talking about his upcoming matchup with the Browns. And as far as my eye test, he was moving well. He didn't have any sort of device on his knee, no brace or anything like that, so he looked perfectly fine. Mozzie Smith, the Achilles injury, he showed up on the injury report on Wednesday with that. He's moving well as well. I'm told that the reason he's showing up on that, it's funny that you asked about the taping thing, is because he had to get that ankle retaped for more comfort. So he showed up on the injury report with that. So, but that's why he's a full participant in both of these practices, because it's more or less a non-issue with how they're viewing it, and hopefully it stays that way. John Stevens Jr. is actually the only player that's not on IR that has missed any practices this week. He's missed both practices with that hamstring injury. He's been off to the side doing individual work with tight ends coach Lunda Wells, but he is not trending towards playing as we have this conversation. We'll see what the report says for today. We'll see if there are any updates tomorrow. I'll see if he's on the flight tomorrow. But nonetheless, as we have this conversation, it looks like it'll be Brevin Spann-Ford being your TE3.
One of the things that I think is really cool about you doing this each week and the respect you have in that locker room is that I feel like you can get different vibes from players in the locker room and the building in general that maybe some others can't because they relate to you a little bit more. What's the vibes like, man, in that locker room? Because QB1 all offseason, he's felt free and loose to me and ready to go. But is the rest of that team kind of following the lead? Or are they rooted, and ready for week one, Pat?
Listen, the vibe is exactly where it needs to be and then some. So let me elaborate just a little bit. I had a real good conversation with Wanye Thomas yesterday. I had a conversation with Jordan Lewis the day prior, and just kind of moving around the locker room, I spoke to Jalen Tolbert. Now, these are all off the cuff, off the record conversations. This is just me talking to the guys, kind of getting their vibe and seeing what's going on with them mentally going into week one. And something that stuck out to me the most was something Jordan Lewis said to me. I walked up to Jordan and I'm like, hey, man, how's it going? How you feeling about this week, this season? He smiles and looks up because he's sitting at his locker. He looks up. He was like, see, something's different. So I was like, nah, you got to stand up and talk to me now. So, so I'm like, tell me what something different is. He was like, it's something in the air, man. It's something different from the previous years I've been here. So I'm like, tell me more about that. Like, what do you mean in the air? He's like, it's different in a good way. I can't put a finger on it. This is Jordan Lewis telling me this. He was like, I can't put a finger on it. Something different, man. He was like, these linebackers and Zimmer and this defensive line and this offense and how comfortable they are with Mike and Brandon. The steps he's taking. He was like, I don't know, man. He was like, I'm just saying, it feels different. That is the vibe that I'm getting from these guys in the locker room. I got that vibe not only from Jordan, those are direct words from Jordan Lewis, but I'm getting that vibe from guys like Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell, obviously Dak Prescott. I'm getting it from Brandon Cooks. I'm getting it from CeeDee Lamb. I was talking to CeeDee Lamb at his locker yesterday and the day prior, and man, he could not be more amped to get back on this field. So when you start to see all of these players operating on the same wavelength, and that wavelength is a high frequency as far as, hey, they're ready to get cooking, it just makes you understand that the noise outside of this building is not permeating inside. Like, these guys feel something. And I love what Jordan Lewis said. He said something's different in the air, and he didn't try to quantify it. He simply said, I can't put a finger on it, but I'm telling you, man, something's different.
Hey, I had a chance to speak with CeeDee Lamb the other day, and it sounded like he came out and said, look, I'm full go. They had a practice. It was his first padded practice. He got, a chance to go against the defense, I believe. And he said, I'm ready to go. There's no chemistry issues. I've been working with Dak. Can you elaborate on what CeeDee was talking about there?
Yeah. So yesterday was the first full padded contact practice for the Cowboys. And that means it was CeeDee Lamb's first opportunity to really get thumped up. And if you go back to after he ended his holdout, he got his contract, one of the only things that he said he needed to do to get ramped up was to get thumped a little bit. So he participated fully in 100% of the team drills, 100% of the first team reps, I'm told. And then he basically confirmed that yesterday when he said it was fun going up against the first team again. He's ready for Cleveland. I launched the first question to him. I said, hey, are you full go? How do you feel for Cleveland? He was like, yeah, absolutely. He was like, I'm on. And then he started to talk about what was going on in practice, and they were doing scheme work and everything. So as it stands, and I'll check with PR today because I don't know that the Cowboys have moved him from reserve, did not report yet, but they have a spot to do it, so it's no big deal, and it's going to happen. There is, knock on wood, there is no reason that CeeDee Lamb between now and Sunday should not be green lighted to take that field. But he feels good. He's obviously a little bit bigger. He said he put on some armor. You can see it.
Yeah.
In real life, you can even see it on the images. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb, he's an absolute go. And he was talking about a lot of the offseason work he did with Dak Prescott as well. I know a lot of people were wondering, oh, well, you know, outside of him doing some work in Houston and South Florida, what about the work with Dak? He's been in the Dak yard quite a bit. He said that yesterday. Well, he reiterated that yesterday. He said it prior as well. And he said it's good to have a rich quarterback. basically saying that, yeah, you know, we have a rich quarterback.
Dak's
a football field in his back.
Dak's jab was hilarious. Yeah. Dak said, "Hey, man, maybe I need to put a dome over it if I get a new contract."
Yeah, that's what he said. Listen, again, the vibes are immaculate, man.
Yeah.
You love to see it, considering that it's not outweighing the self-awareness that they completely understand. Go back and look at Dak's interview. He completely understands the pressure that's on this season because of guys who aren't under contract beyond the season. As we have this conversation, hopefully this changes here shortly, but as we have this conversation, he's one of those guys. One of his favorite coaches of all time, Mike McCarthy, and they have a great personal relationship. Mike is not under contract. So even assuming, and I do assume that this deal is going to get done on Dak Prescott, but assuming Dak Prescott's deal gets done, I don't see that it makes him rest on his laurels for any reason, because one, he wants to win a Super Bowl and he wants to win it in Dallas. Everybody saw the quote yesterday that I put out there, basically saying that winning the Super Bowl in Dallas would hit differently than winning it anywhere else. Number two, that's just not his makeup psychologically. Number three, even if he gets his contract, and I believe that he will, Dak Prescott will, he's also fighting to keep Mike McCarthy around. And one of the only ways to do that is to make a deep playoff run. So, again, the vibes are immaculate, but at the same time, everybody understands the pressure of the moment, and there is a ton of it.
So today's show, we're doing some bold predictions. And before you get out of here, Pat, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this every week, but damn it, it's week one. Let's have a little fun. Give me one bold prediction for Sunday's game. Cowboys, Browns, go.
Cowboys, Browns, Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle combined for 150 and 3 touchdowns.
Woo! That last one, that's bold. That's bold, brother. I love it.
I'm taking that. Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott, they combined for 3 touchdowns and 150 yards. I feel like I do believe Tyler Guyton's going to hold his own. Myles Garrett is going to win some of those reps. Guyton is going to win some of those reps. I think people are about to be impressed with what Steele looks like against Darius Smith. Steele looks back to form. And that's going to – now, obviously, they have Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle. They have Shelby Harris in the middle. They got dogs up front. But I think that Dak Prescott and this passing attack being able to get the ball downfield to help neutralize those edge rushers is going to kind of open up that middle. And then guess who's in the middle? Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Zach Martin. I think Shelby Harris and Dalvin Tomlinson are in for a very long day.
I promise you, y'all, we didn't share notes, but just stay tuned because his bold prediction is very much in line with mine. So one of mine.
No, we did not. We did not.
That is interesting. Hey, appreciate you, Pat. I know you got to get going to go kill it here on Talking Cowboys. Make sure y'all check my brother out. He drops all types of science. In fact, you just dropped your science article, correct?
Yeah. First Science Lab of the 2024 season. It is live on the .com. Make sure you guys check it out. I also tweeted it. I'll tweet it again as I walk from here to the studio downstairs to do Talking Cowboys in less than 120 seconds. So got to go to the next thing. Love you, brother. Love y'all. Tune in to Talking Cowboys in 2 minutes. And we'll actually do multiple screens because don't tune out.
Multiple. Yeah, don't leave me.
Yeah, don't leave still, but just get an extra screen so you can have maximum elite coverage going on at the same time.
Appreciate you, bro.